This week, episode 318 of Stogie Geeks. In our second segment, we got the stick of the week. It is the 2019 Cigar Aficionado ranked Plasencia Alma del Fuego. The specific size we're going to talk about is the Falma. That's a 6.5 by 38, but it's available in a couple more sizes. We're going to talk about that. But first, in our first segment, Drew and I talk about principal component analysis, or known as PCA. Oh, no, wait. That's too high of a business discussion to have. We're going to talk PCA show. Why? Because my phone's been ringing. My email's been pinging. And listeners have been asking me their thoughts. Vendors have been calling me and telling me who's in or out. Vendors have been sharing stuff on Facebook, and letters are flying around. And we're all acting like a bunch of high school teenagers over a trade show. So, since this happens to be the topic of the week, Drew and I are going to the microphone. You want our opinions? Brace yourself. Stogie Geeks 318 starts right now.
This is a Security Weekly production. Broadcasting live from G-Unit Studios in Rhode Island, it's the show where cigars burn slow, ashes fall fast, and cocktails flow steady. It's the Stogie Geek Show. Welcome, everyone, to the Stogie Geek Show. Joe and I are already silly.
Oh, yeah.
Joe Hozempa, a.k.a. Joe Hollywood, is here with me in studio.
I'm fired up.
Havana Cigar Club, located in Warwick, Rhode Island, is a great place to enjoy a drink and a cigar. Stogie Geeks listeners can find a $5 off coupon on our website by clicking the HCC logo.
Confidence. Confidence isn't walking into a room with your nose in the air, thinking you're better than anyone else. It's walking into a room and not having to compare yourself to anyone in the first place.
Welcome to episode 318 of Stogie Geeks. I am your host, Joe Hozempa. Stick of the week is our Plasencia Alma del Fuego. I'm smoking the Falma right now. That's coming up later on in the show, so you definitely want to tune into that. And Drew and I are going to be talking about what we've been smoking in the second segment. But first, this newsflash, there are people who are in and out of PCA. And this whole IPCPR, PCA thing is getting way out of control. We're going to break it down for you. We're going to give you our opinions. But before we do that, I want to introduce remotely the little dark-haired boy from Texas who everyone and people call me and email me and say, what's that kid's deal? What's that kid's deal? Is he from the industry? I don't know. He's a great co-host. It's Drew. What's up?
Hey, what's going on, Joe?
Drew, I have not been fired up more for a show since March 18th, 2018, when another host left.
Yes.
Okay? And I'm so fired up for this show because, well, I'm so fired up, just to let you know, I'm going old school, college, Jack and Coke.
Wow.
Not even Jim Beam. I'm going 23-year-old Joe Hozempa. Here we are. Bing, bang, boom. Mentality-wise.
Right.
I have an event tonight, and I'll pay for it tomorrow. But
That's right.
You know what I mean? Especially when you got a 4 in front of your number.
Right.
You know, sometimes you got to gently apply the brakes. But I can't apply the brakes this week. I have received emails, voicemails, vendors. You can't scroll through Facebook or any of the forums without this subject of PCA coming up. Okay? We're going to have to talk about it, right? It's the thing to do as a cigar podcast, for sure. And anyway, how are you doing, Drew?
Doing well. I kicked off last night doing a first ever DAV premium cigars, one of the cigars we talked to, and we spoke with Armin late last year. So they had their first event here last night here in Grapevine, Texas at Bonita Brasa Steakhouse, and that kicked off pretty well. Got to meet a few people. People loved the cigars, and I even got some trades. I mean, I got a Monte Cristo Habano. I mean, I got a Partagas D number 4. I mean, people were just loving it last night. So it's great, definitely a great event. Looking forward to doing some more with those guys. So but other than that, the PCA, man, that's been on all week long. Everybody's talking about it. As I told you earlier, I told you my thoughts. It sounded like a bunch of girls breaking up with their boyfriend. With all these letters shooting around, and again, that's just my thought. Half Wheel, the guys over there. I mean, their title was "The Reckoning is Here," and so that just says a lot, with the industry reporting on this event that everybody's pulling out of. That not everybody, but certain companies are pulling out, pulling away from it.
Sure.
To further their their agenda. But I mean, I don't think it's political. I think it's correct. At this point, let's kick it off, man. Let's talk about it.
Absolutely. How much time I have? Right. No, absolutely. Okay. For the Stogie Geeks listener, I'm going to break it down to you. That's pretty simple. If you haven't tuned into it, or if you have tuned into it, okay, we're going to talk two things, okay? We're going to talk business, and we're going to talk consumer, okay? So, because I really, truly believe that there is a disconnect there for sure, especially on the retail side. And keep in mind, this IPCPR PCA transition is supposed to be a retail show. So, please keep that in mind, okay? My thoughts are pretty simple, right? In regards to the last week, just to give everyone a timeline, last week, 4 big companies had made the official announcement that they were pulling out of their booth space for the trade show PCA, which is formerly known as IPCPR. When they announced the name change from IPCPR to PCA, again, my phone rang, emails went off. There was some backlash on social media, but it wasn't as big as this, as far as the backlash there. Certainly, vendors, people have expressed their opinion. Both retailers and owners of cigar companies have said immediately, I'm out. They verbally said they were out. They didn't formally write a letter. But now, let's look at this from a business perspective. It's January. Trade show is about to kick off in March. Obviously, in the cigar company, May through August, maybe September, is really when blends come out with newer stuff. Cigar Aficionado kicks up their writings in regards to, what's coming up new. Half Wheel does a whole report. Of course, other podcasts do their reports there. And, I try to find what's new and just talk about it in the Stick of the Weeks and let them do their due diligence in regards to chasing in regards to what's new. I mean, as a cigar consumer, we can get that information via social media pretty readily anyway. And also with this influencer, not ambassador program, what basically happens is, we can get the information as consumers as to what's coming up, et cetera, there, and away you go. We get it. So let's talk about the consumer, right? We get it from Facebook as opposed to going to our local retailer, okay? That's a problem there. That's a problem for both the show, which the show is supposed to be, it's like when something started, right? And I can only treat this like a business conversation, like when I compare PCA organization to your local chamber of commerce, okay? And what I mean by that is what happened was people joined the local chamber of commerce years ago, right? Because if you owned a small business, you needed to buy group health care. And if you were a membership, And if you were a member of your local Chamber of Commerce, you can now purchase health care for your employees. If you were a small business, I'm talking 5 to 10 employees, right? As opposed to calling your health care provider first and then going there. Just go with me for 30 more seconds, right? So the Chamber didn't have to solicit for members for small businesses, bang on a small business's door where businesses could be tight, cash flow can be tight, runway room can be tight, money in the bank can be tight, inventory of what they're selling can be tight. Does this all sound familiar if we're cascading to the cigar industry? Here's what happened. You fast forward, okay, and the Chamber of Commerce, you no longer have to become a member in the Chamber of Commerce in some states to get the group health care. So what happens naturally? Attendance goes down. Dues goes down. Now the Chamber of Commerce, any Chamber of Commerce, and just to give you the Stogie Geeks listener as far as like if I know what I'm talking about, this was a conversation that gave me a 30-day suspension on Business Roundtable Radio because I got so much hate from the program director of listeners coming in and doing that. I struck a nerve. Chamber of Commerce were threatening to pull out sponsorships from all these businesses. They thought, this is crazy. I'm exposing something. Yeah, I'm going to expose something. And believe me, by the time this segment is over, I'm going to expose something for the PCA as well. So I asked the Stogie Geeks listener, I'm sorry I don't have word economy, but please hang in there with me, right? So, okay. So fast forward, attendance goes down. Now what happens on the Chamber of Commerce side is they have to stop fundraising for their own sustainability. Sound familiar? Here we go. Now how does that business model equate to the PCA, right? PCA, IPC, PR started out. This was supposed to be a show, correct me if I'm wrong, and by the way, open microphone if anybody wants to come in, Joe and speak, Joe H at StogieGeeks.com. Anybody from PCA who wants to come on the microphone and tell me I'm wrong or publicly correct me of any things, open microphone. In fact, it's such an open microphone. We only do interviews at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Fridays because we have 8 other shows that we're doing here, right? I will make arrangements to have it done in between those times if it's a member of the PCA to actually come there. So open microphone, Joe H, StogieGeeks.com. You want to keep me quiet? Paul at StogieGeeks.com. And if you have any hate email, that's Drew at StogieGeeks.com. Okay, so
Correct.
that's all settled. Okay, now let's talk about the PCA because now we have a business model put in place. PCA, IPCPR, and whatever it was called pre that was supposed to be a resource for retail cigar shops to not only purchase cigars at discounted prices, it goes beyond that. Not only get the news of new releases and everything like that, i.e. on the other business model, get healthcare information at a premium price to cascade the benefit over to your small employees. Let's jump back. You jump back. It's supposed to be a resource beyond discounts and beyond news of sticks. It's supposed to be a resource for retailers to pool together and for retailers to exchange business ideas, do networking. This is what a chamber used to be. Do networking, talk about whatever challenges that the retail brick and mortar challenges that they have across the country because different challenges in different regions present themselves. For example, where it's always warm in South Florida, you have outdoor seating, you might not have a winter season. You might have a population winter season, right? In the extreme summer, South Florida becomes pretty dead, but right now it's pretty hopping right now. But you have seasonal changes. What if you're up in Minnesota where you get 5 feet of snow, Colorado, et cetera, et cetera? They would come up with ideas and resources. And I remember all the way back then from the shows, these retailers would come in and get more information other than stick deals. And somehow, some way, it became a stick deal networking time, right? And I believe that the retailers had lost that connection to the show. That explains lower attendance as the year's gone down. That's been the reason why some of these big companies have been saying that they're either going or they're not going writing letters and expressing themselves there. Let's talk about that. Or actually, Drew, before we transition from the retailers, because again, just to repeat, it's supposed to be a show for retailers to go there and have a resource, network with other retailers, be on the same page of whatever message that PCA wants to cascade, right, across the message, organize in unity for the benefit of the brick and mortar. It lost its identity. Anything you want to add to that point?
Yeah, well, definitely. I mean, that's, as you said, the whole conceptual idea of having a trade show. Back in the day when I was in the car customization world, you know, SEMA, which is a huge show, and the CES show, the Consumer Electronics Show. I mean, those shows are there for not only new product rollouts, what's coming down the line, new development, you know, and then also talking with other companies as far as, you know, ideas, you know, how the market in their region is, you know, what, you know, just all these different factors that drive business and drive consumer confidence in products. So it's just, you know, and that's what PCA is supposed to do. You know, right now, I think that the internet is kind of taking a bite, you know, from them, because now it's easily to get for a cigar company to just roll out information. But in the interim, that's when you got to come up with these, you know, fascinating or consistent ideas for the following year's show. Mm-hmm. So you know, you got to keep that interesting. You got to keep it. I mean, I don't want to go to the same restaurant every night. I want to go to a different restaurant. I want to go, and if I would if it does become a regular restaurant, then it's because they have a new offer, and it's just like sticks, our stogies. You know, I don't smoke the same stogie every day. You know, I smoke many different stogies. So, but to have that information, to understand, you know, what why that stick is coming out of their factory or what have you, just having that information in the retailer's hands, then into the consumer hands from there, there's a whole relationship circle there. So, and
I don't think that it's Armageddon for PCA at all, right? Mm-hmm. I think that this is a pivoting point where the vendors have had enough of the vision that they feel that, or dare I say, the vendors are upset about the level of customer service that the conference has been offering them year after year. And I know from my experience, I've had retailers purchase IPCPR stuff and deals before they even get on a jet plane to go to IPCPR, do their ordering and budgeting for what they know what's going to sell, right? And then they just go to IPCPR to kind of see what's new.
Right.
What about learning a new business model for the brick and mortar, right? Because let's look at this. Let's transition, right, to and talk business about this, right? The brick and mortar has to put up all of the capital, responsibility, staffing, outlay of inventory, all the different requirements, put it in QuicksBook, deal with the division of taxation, deal with everything that, you know, liability insurance, everything that has to deal with that. And if they're not getting the level of customer service, the brick and mortars, that's why attendance down. As far as the vendors, right? As far as the vendors are concerned, okay, 4 really big companies pulled out. But let's look at the big picture. If we were to cascade this to any other business industry, I don't know, let's cascade it to cybersecurity. That seems like a pretty good topic to talk about, right?
Sure.
There is a cycle that I'm starting to see, and that Paul has always said in that field. When a company's looking for market share, when they're really, really new, they go to trade show X, whatever trade show it is. And then they go for like five years or so. Then they take a couple of years off, reorganize their thoughts or search for one-way room, go get venture cap, whatever it is that they have to do, update their product, because you can't keep telling the same story year over year. Can't keep launching sticks year over year and stuff like that. So let's talk about it from a business perspective, right? These big companies that had pulled out, Okay, they pulled out. All right, big deal. Then all of a sudden, we get companies saying, whoa, wait a minute. I love you and we're in. Okay, we're in. But not for nothing, if they attended their conference, they would know who's in.
Yeah.
So, and it's not very uncommon for big vendors, gold sponsor, silver, bronze, platinum, whatever the level is, for big vendors to pull out of any conference in any industry. Right? I know a gentleman who has an oil podcast, right? And he talks about the oil industry. I listen to it. It's fascinating because you think things in like the cybersecurity world are fascinating. What about oil? Right? Who are you going to sell it to? Can't just go to Drew's house in Texas and my house in Bristol and freaking, hey, by the way, you want to buy freaking 14 billion petroleum barrels that we're going to produce over the next 5 years? Yeah, sure. Let me cut you. It just. But it's fascinating how those wheels turn when they have trade shows. Because I actually spoke to them over this week. When they have trade shows, there's some companies that are not there. Big companies that we all stick our little nozzle in the side of our car and get companies from. So for companies to bail out of a trade show that they feel that they're not getting any customer service. It's the same thing when you go back to the chamber argument. It's up to the board. It's up to the board to say, hey, man, we might, these are not my words saying that they did. They might have lost a little bit of their vision. Let's provide customer service to the vendors who love us and said that they're coming so that next year we can get those that are coming back and we can rebrand and recoup and use it for good, as opposed to turn it into who's going, who's not going. Because I believe the PCA executive, I believe they're an executive board. I don't think it's an advisory board. That's above my research level. I could easily find out if I walk next door and ask. But whether it's an executive board or an advisory board, that's up for the board to say, hey, listen, it's been 5 now, big ones. 5 big ones have bailed, right? These guys are staying. Why don't we use this to really, really use it as a lesson? Because if you were a business owner, local brick and mortar, cigar manufacturer, I mean, how many cigar manufacturers who we used to talk about on Stogie Geeks, who we don't talk about anymore, because for reasons that they never had this kind of come to Jesus session with themselves. As far as saying, hey, right, the PCA needs to say, hey, let's really supply good, phenomenal customer service to the ones that are here, take it on the chin, and in the next round, in the next year, reposition ourselves to be better and learn from the experience. If I was on that board, I would be like, I would be like, yo, excuse me, I wouldn't change any word I said on this episode. I would say, listen, there's a disconnect here. Consumer, retailer from the brick and mortar and their perspective, and the vendor. We need to get them all together, right? Yeah. And so they should use it as a learning lesson. Yeah. There. What I think is kind of crazy is that everyone is turning this into this media fiasco as to who's going. So if you're going, you're a good guy, and if you're not going, you're a bad guy. Like that's crazy. That's crazy. They're not going. They're not going because it doesn't fit their business plan. Period. Right. And let's put it in perspective. And I'm done in the sentence. Right. They're not going because it doesn't fit their business plan. That's it. And let's put it in perspective. They didn't say we're not going to all conferences in the United States. They didn't say the heck with the United States. They didn't say, United States, we don't want your cigar business. They didn't say up yours, PCA. They just said, we're not going.
Right.
One letter got a little wordy from there. I don't like to throw out names. If you want names, you can email me, joeh@StogieGeeks.com. I'll give you the press release, and you can have at it. I'm not using that to gain more listeners. We have a pretty well-rounded crew who listen to us. To the fact that I've gotten tons of emails, not to forget your cigars.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I've gotten emails all week. Don't forget your cigars. Don't forget your cigars. Go ahead.
Well, no, what I was going to say, and right now that's one thing that PCA, I think they're just the inefficiency or in their thought thinking is, the value in that show has to exceed the face-to-face meetings with the retailers. There's got to be a value to it.
Yep.
Otherwise, they'll, as Half Wheel, when I was reading their take on the on this matter, it's correct. I mean, if I don't have to drive to Best Buy and I can get my product over at Amazon, then, and it's only because of customer service, or maybe when I get there, they don't have the product, they're inconsistent. Well, then, yeah, I'm going to go to that, Amazon and order it and get it delivered. I don't have to go anywhere, and I'm paying the same price, maybe cheaper.
Right.
I mean, so that happens. And then the other things that I took away from that article from Half Wheel was the RTDA. So, I was reading about that segment where prior to 2009, that model worked. And so what changed? Why did it change? And it just, again, it all, narrows down to, it's just that the quality, the consistency, the inconsistencies have gotten more, it's become eroded every year. So I talked to a few retailers yesterday at my event, at the event I was at. And they were the same way. I mean, they were like, yeah, I go to Set Cigar and I could spend an extra $2 on a $4 cigar I can get online. I would do that if the customer relations was a lot more better.
Right.
If they would, yes, and I would be there. I wouldn't mind spending the extra $2 because maybe there's something there I'm missing out on. And because I'm not there at the brick and mortar shop, I may just not ever get to know about it, So that right there, when he was telling me that, he goes, yeah, I just go online. I get these sticks for $4. I go over there, I get it for $7. But what kills it is that, one, I have to get in my car. I have to drive a few miles. I have to go there and deal with someone who doesn't really understand, why I want my regular stick, but then also doesn't have the education or the thought process to pivot me to something else.
And that's on the owner.
Yes.
There are some retail shops who do it well, and it has nothing to do with my relationship with Dan Davison down in Queensbury. Because if I walk into Queensbury Cigar and Pipe in upstate New York, right? Go over there, right? It's right near Lake George, right? If I go there, right? It's in Queensbury because it's in the name. Anyway, Jack and Coke's kicking in. That's good. That means I'm gonna start calming down, right? If I walk into Queensbury Cigar and Pipe and Dan Davidson's not there, the staff knows, and I've asked the staff there, and plenty of staff. I'm just going to visit. Hey, what about this? What about that? Would I like this? I like this. Blah blah blah. And that's Kathleen, the owner. Testament to her. Her employees, perfect example, know. That. Now, I don't know if she puts them through a mini curriculum. I don't know what the bid, but they know it, okay? And if you walk into a local brick and mortar, I don't care if they have 40 facings. I don't care if they have 400 facings. I don't care if they have 4,000 facings. There has been a cadence of brick and mortar shops they're pushing the consumers away. They're pushing the consumers away. I have conversations with my friends. They watch Stogie Geeks every once in a while. It's my close, fast friends. The godfather of my son, okay? And there are plenty of times he calls me up and says, yeah, man, so-and-so's having an event. I'm like, dude, I don't want to go there. It's like, I don't want to go there. Yeah, but you like the rep. It's a cigar company. I'm like, but I don't want to go there.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to, and it's just like, why? Because of the lack of customer service from a consumer level. So, I know we're talking about PCA, but if you look at it from a whole business perspective, it's kind of like tiers that brush it down. By the time it gets to us, we've all been bombarded by politics. We're all burnt out, okay? And you just get burnt out. And it's like, it's a business decision. 5 companies are not going to a trade show because it's actually, I'm thinking now, 6, right? Numbers get higher as I go, right? Yeah. 6 are not going to a trade show, right? It doesn't fit their business model. It's that simple. Right. And okay, so then you have to reallocate, remake deals, make the numbers work for supply. Use it as a stepping stone. You know what I mean? I honestly think, okay, wrapping up this, I could talk about this for like freaking 2 hours, right?
And I got one more thing to add to all this. Go ahead.
No, go, because I had like a final thought, so, and I won't forget it, so you go.
Okay, so yeah, like one of the gentlemen that were was at the DAV event last night. He was talking about that they are 90% ready to pull the trigger, that they're not going to go to Vegas to showcase their sticks and offerings. But what they will do instead is take that money, because they understand that they've been going now for about 5 years in a row, and it's become stale.
Sure.
Was the word he used. And so because of that, he's like, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and travel the country and just kind of do, small shows, for me and maybe some other boutique brands, get together with those owners and see if they would like to get together. And we just do these little micro or pop-up, events throughout the cities throughout the United States. And and get into the consumer base and get in, with not only with the retailers, but the consumer base at their brick and mortar shops. So, and that's forward thinking. That's, I was talking about the ambassador program that we tout for McAuliffe, and so, yeah, a lot of them like, yeah, we hear that, and, we need to get back into that as well. And, so that's catching fire. It's definitely catching fire. So, but to hear that from these smaller companies, that's what they'll do, opposed to going down to Vegas. It takes time out of their busy schedule, and it's a cost. There's a cost there, and there's got to be an ROI when they do that. So, but yeah, I mean that was a pretty nice conversation to have and to hear.
It's actually a great point. It's actually a great point, Drew, right? You have someone who's just backpedaling and said, okay, I'm spending X dollars for this conference, right? And I can take that same amount of money and, I'll be in front of less people, but I'll get more attention.
Yes.
For either the same amount of money or less. You can't begrudge them. It's a business decision. And at the end of the day, we interview all these people over here at Stogie Geeks for years. Oh, I started the business because of passion. You started the business because you wanted to make money. It's okay. It's okay. You found a craft that you're good at. Clearly you're good at it because your cigars sell. If you're not good at it, then your cigars won't sell and we won't talk about you no more because you won't be readily available, right? It's a business decision. Right. I'm waiting for someone to come to the microphone and just say, listen, it's a business. It's a business. It's a business. This is what I'm doing, right? You take, for example, Mike Bellady, right? MLB Cigar Ventures, okay? Started with one factory, left that factory, went to another. Yep. It's business. It's not like, oh, my God, the guy who rolled he used to be made at the Quesada factory and wow, and all this stuff. It's a business decision. Why he made it, it's his business. He can do whatever he wants. And if you don't want to go to a trade show for whatever reason, that's it. And if you're one of the bigger companies in the Keystone process, hey, this all happened in the economic downturn of 2008 when big vendors started pulling out of stuff across all industries.
Yeah.
But the cigar industry isn't exempt. And then by the time it trickles down to the consumers, there's such a disconnect. We consumers are like, I don't want to go to X retailer because I don't like the staff or I've driven by places and see the car of the person working and go to the next shop because I don't want to deal with that person for whatever reason. And as consumers, we have that luxury. Same thing with the stick, right? The shop's going to do price gouge us. You did mention something in regards to purchasing something online for a couple of dollars cheaper than there. That is going to be fixed. That's going to be fixed somehow, some way through legislation. When legislative gets done, all doing what they have to do, and then get to the premium cigar industry, that's going to be fixed from a level playing field. And that's a whole nother episode about taxation. I'd love to talk about that because I have tons to say about that too. Yeah. But not for nothing, the theme is going to be the same. It's just the topic and the leverage of the taxation is going to be different. It's a business decision. So, and most consumers, if I were to walk into any cigar shop today, and say, what do you think about this company, and this company leaving Pittsburgh? Like, who cares? Like, does that mean I'm still going to get my cigars? Yeah. Okay, cool. I don't care. You know what I mean? And before, it would be like, oh, but I think the PCA just needs to restructure its vision, sit down as the board. Maybe if they were really aggressive, right, have the executive board reach out to the people who bailed and make a deal for them to stay. Or if they don't want to come and if they're officially out, great. You're officially out. Let's talk about 2021. Let's talk about 2021. I do that all day, right? I do that all day. I mean, I here at Security Weekly, for example, we deal with a company called Alphabet, right? And Alphabet just made $1 trillion mark, right? Okay. And by the way, there's only 4 in the United States that have done that. And guess what? They did business with me in 2018, December in 2018, but they didn't do business with me in 2019. But you know something? I didn't say, I said, okay, cool. I waited 3 months, and I said, can I talk to you about 2020? And you know what they said? Let's talk.
Yeah.
You take it on the chin. Oh, that was a dumb move. I should have went this way, right? You take it on the chin and you move on. And I just think it's getting out of control with the people, especially the people who are saying that they're in. Well, if you're in, you're going to be on the list of you're going to be in. It's going to be published, or it's going to be talked about, or you're going to post it all over your social media saying, yo, man, catches at booth 3124, right? And booth 578 and booth 381, right? Because I'm going to scroll through my Facebook and say, where was that booth when I go? No, walk around. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and it's just a whole jumbled mess.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be. All it is a handful of companies pulling out of the biggest trade show. I get that for the industry. But it doesn't mean that the industry is unorganized. And I'm not here to go poo-poo on the PCA either. They use it as a learning experience. You use it as a learning experience. What happened? Why you lost the deal? Okay, right? Why you lost the deal, and then create something to get the deal. They didn't say they're never going again. They said we ain't going to 2020 show. Maybe they're making a stance to prove a point. And just maybe, if the executive board had some really good closes on there, by the way, you can email me for a consultation. I will go to all the 5 companies and negotiate that there. Joe H. at StogieGeeks.com. I'll negotiate a deal with them to stay at the trade show. Why not? Right? Yeah. And maybe they create curriculum in between those big companies, right? Curriculum to help the brick and mortar take that information, go down to their employees, back to their hometown, and use that information to, I don't know, make money and sell cigars.
Right.
That's right. I mean, I would be like, the first thing I would say is, hey, yeah, sure. You want to come back? I want a curriculum.
Yeah.
Right. And now if I were on the board, I would be like, we shouldn't let anybody back unless they have some sort of a curriculum. And what do I mean by curriculum? A paragraph, goal, execution, and strategy. What's the goal of IPCPR? Oh, I'm sorry. What's the goal of PCA, right? Yep. What's your execution and what's your strategy in each booth? Is that too much to ask? I mean, you kind of give it to really smart high school children taking an economics class, right? And you learn that in college.
For sure.
And again, I don't want to go poo-poo on anybody. I don't want to, but I think that it's just getting way out of hand. And there you go. I think. Do you want to leave it right there?
No, I was going to say, do you think we'll get invited?
I've been invited. Again, but true. Phenomenal question. Ever since I started Stogie Geeks, Stogie Geeks, January 2nd of 2017, I have been invited to IPCPR by all of our vendors. In fact, I've been invited to film Stogie Geeks in the Drew Estate booth.
Yeah.
2018. I'm thinking of the year. 2018. 2017, I was asked, right? Or we. I should say we. I shouldn't say I, Joe Zempa. Stogie Geeks Umbrella. Stogie Geeks Umbrella was asked to, hey, you want to do something with General? Go there, interview some people, bing, bang, boom. That'll be great, blah, 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 blah. 2017, General. Okay? Yeah. 2019, we were asked by Adria J.C. Newman.
Yeah.
Right? Hey, why don't you come down, whatever you want. They've been asking me to go down to the factory.
Yeah.
And for us to go down to the factory, and we are. Okay? I didn't do it in 2018, leading into 2019. It wasn't part of Stogie Geeks' business plan. It's that simple. It wasn't the heck with you, Drew. The heck with you, General. The heck with you. The heck with you, JC. It was not like that at all. It was a business decision. Because I remember saying, hey, Paul, guess what? And I told him what I just told you. And he says, well, if you want to go, that's cool. And I'm thinking about it. And I'm like, what am I going to do there? I'm going to interview people that email us on a constant basis to be interviewed.
Sure.
And, camaraderie. I mean, I don't know. I'm a host of a player in the cigar podcast world. You're the host and the player in the cigar cast world. Like, that's not what I don't even think, personally, business wise. I don't even think podcasts should be there.
Yeah.
Because we're a subscription. It's a digital, either audio or video, right? A subscription for people, for consumers to listen to and get stuff. Why are we gonna bombard it with that? You know what I mean? And I can see the point of going, but it just wasn't part of the business plan. And then in 2019, it became a bandwidth issue when I birth of my son and first year was a I don't even remember half the episodes I did on Stogie Geeks. No, I'm only kidding. You know what I mean? But it's like it was a business issue. It wasn't like anything like that.
No, I know that. People ask me last night, do you guys go to those shows? I'm like, I haven't been there with our show, but I've been by there a couple times in the past, but I have not been there recently.
I've been to smokes and stuff like that, and I mean, God, I remember. I think it's called the Bond Burner or the Bond thing. It's the Drew Estate Bond thing. It's in Connecticut. So after we declined that, they said, you want to come down? You want to come down? People can't get into that show. People are like trading tickets online, trying to get into the show. Oh, then they're like, yeah, man, you want to come down? Just let us know. So we have a space for you and the production crew to go down. And again, it's like that's your chance to shine. That's your chance to shine. I have no problem interviewing anyone from Drew Estate, Joe H at StogieGeeks.com, Paul at StogieGeeks.com, Drew at StogieGeeks.com. Email us and set up a date on a Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's that simple. Yeah. We have an open mic. I've said we have an open mic every. So to go there to do what? To watch people raffle and stand in line to take a picture with the crew, Willie and Drew. That's their gig.
Right.
That's their gig. My gig, or our gig, right? I don't want to keep talking like I'm alone, right? I'm sorry, I'm not getting used to being with someone, right? Right? Our gig, flash us an email, we'll set up a thing, we'll talk about your cigar company. It's that simple. Right. That's our gig. And then the next segment, which we got to get to pretty soon, right? Yeah. The next segment, we talk about sticks we've been smoking and we rate them. It's pretty simple. That's our business model. That's what we do. We stick pretty close to it. You know what I mean? And it's just crazy. I just think that as the years progressed, and I honestly think in defense of the PCA, the board woke up after this, and the board got shook up and said, "Wow, we really need to do something." Because as years go by, and years fly by for everybody, right? Yeah. Everybody's got other stuff to do besides sit around and smoke cigars, right? Even though we make it sound like that, but you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
There's a gap between the retailer and the PCA. There's a gap between the manufacturers or companies and PCA. There's a creativity gap and an educational gap between the retailers and creators of the company and the consumers. That's evident, right? And then there's a huge gap between the retailers and the consumers. And all they got to do is come up with a business strategy to close those gaps. It's not going to be overnight. But when they close those gaps and they align as quickly as possible, as effectively as possible, provide phenomenal customer service, guess what's going to happen? Attendance is going to go up. There's going to be no question on boot space, and people are going to move on with their lives.
Oh, yeah.
Anything else?
No, I mean, you hit the head on the nail. So, and like I said last night at the DAV event, it was great to talk with these customers of the brick and mortar world and understand their issues, and now to take those, and not use me as a vehicle and present those to the brick and mortar shops when I go visit them, and just kind of let them know, what I hear, and and be honest, be very honest with them.
Yeah.
I mean, because that to me will definitely build the confidence of their sales, and move forward.
Yeah, that's all. Like I said, I'm not here to go poo-poo on anyone. I'm just here to lay down the thing. I just think the letters need to stop. Like, and the sharing of the letters need to stop. Because when I see it, I'm just like, oh, really? Like, why? Like, what? Like, when you put out a letter as a company, just let Stogie Geek in there, and Drew, correct me if I'm wrong, you've done business transactions as well, right? You sit down as a group and you write your formal letter. And we're like, by God, we're going. And we're letting them know that we are totally in love with you. Really? Like, you're going. You pay the fee, you go. Same thing as the consumers or the retailers. You pay the fee, you go. You don't go, you don't go. Maybe there might be a new sort of competitor to PCA. What if that happened in this beautiful country that we call the U.S. of A? What if that happened? A bunch of. What if the top four said, something, we're going to do our own thing, and we're not going to let anybody in? How about that?
Yeah.
How about that? And not only that, we're going to have educational seminars for the retailers about our stuff, and we're only going to let retailers in, and we don't want anybody else. But they could do that. They could pull that off financially.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And have their own conference and then have it build the competitions. I'm not suggesting that that's a great idea. That's why the PCA needs to really, really bring them to the table.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Or just admit it's a business decision. Talk 2021 with them. If I was president, PCA, or executive director, or whatever the title is, I would be like on the phone with them. I understand your position in 2020. You certainly raised an eyebrow. We understand your points. However, can you do me a favor? 3 months after this year's show, can I meet with you on an individual basis, talk to you about some of the points, and I want to fix it. I want to fix it for 2021. And you know something? I want to make this show a resource again. I want to make this show a resource again for the retailers and educate the retailers about all the different things that can happen. I don't want it to be people going around to get free swag.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't want people going around to get free sticks. And by the way, those guys that do the podcast thing, why don't you email them and set up an appointment on their show?
Right.
Just make sure you email Joe H. at Stogie Geeks first if you want to talk business. If you want to play around, go to the other ones and come here. Either way, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're talking about the Plasencia Elma del Fuego and what we've been smoking.
Plasencia cigars. Perfected for more than 150 years. Yours to enjoy now.
Welcome back to Stogie Geeks, episode 318. I'm your host, Joe Zempa, joined remotely by the little brown-haired kid from Texas, Mr. Drew Gavin. Drew, this week, we get to talk about the Plasencia Elma del Fuego. This week, we get to talk about the Plasencia Elma del Fuego, Drew. I'm excited to talk about this stick. I'm having this stick right now. The specific size I'm having is the Falma. That's a 6.5 by 38.
Oh, yeah.
It's wicked good, as we say here in Rhode Island. Just to let you know, it is a 2019 Cigar Aficionado ranked stick. It came in at lucky number 13 in the 2019 pick. Your wrapper binder filler is all Nicaragua. What do you think of the stick?
Very good stick. I love this stick. I've actually had 6 already. Yeah, I've had 6 of those. Yeah, very good stick. This cigar offers, very good savory notes and leather, and it's just really nice. I probably have had 2 a month in the last. I'm going to say at least the last 3 to 4 months. So nice cigar. Love it.
Absolutely. My first takeaway from this cigar, first of all, wrapper binder filler are all Nicaraguan. It's available in 3 different sizes. It's available in a Robusto, 5 by 50. It's available in a Toro, 6 by 54. And it's available in a Panatella, 6.5 by 38. I'm digging the Panatella size. I've had it in the Robusto size. I've also had it in the Toro size, so I've had it in all 3 sizes. As it gets bigger in size, I tend to lose the flavor that we get from the volcanic soil that it's come from. That's only because of a component of the bigger the size, some of the nuances there. When we interview Nessa Plasencia, I'm going to ask him when he created each stick in his line, which size was he thinking of in general? And I would venture to say, I'm going on a limb here, that it started with this and then they done the other sizes there. As opposed to some of the traditional way is they usually do it in a Robusto. And then have it go from there. That's why I always tell the Stogie Geek listener, if you're going for it and you like it and it's not a Robusto, try the Robusto. You won't be disappointed in any brand. But yeah. Yep.
That's what I've had the 6. I haven't had the Flama. The Condetta is the Robusto. Of course, that's pretty much my size. That's my cigar. But the Panatella, I'm going to have to get me a couple of those now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because you definitely are correct. I mean, when that wrapper, being that it's a smaller gauge, that wrapper will definitely set off a whole. Yeah.
The wrapper pops, in my opinion. If you go to StogieGeeks.com, click on the Plasencia logo, you can find a retailer near you. While you're there, you can click on the cigars that they have to offer. And when you go to this cigar, it just basically tells you that there's a strong character from the volcanic soil that stems from the Ometepe Islands. Right there. You're going to get wood characters, sun-grown, and you're also going to get a hint of spice that this cigar has to offer. And I couldn't agree with that description more. One thing I want to add in regards to characteristic, when we've done the other 2 Plasencias that we've done, and we're going to go through their line in this series here at Stogie Geeks. When we've done the other 2, I've noticed a stronger component on the other 2 that we reviewed. And just to give you an idea what those were, the Cosecha 146 Robusto and the Elma del Campo, which was the Toro Extra 6.5 by 54. And I mentioned in both of those a really thick smoky component on your palate that kind of lingers. In this case, it's not as smoky as those other 2, and we're going to take the time and rhythm to go through the rest of the line as these episodes continue. But what I've noticed is that I'm getting that spice from that Ometepe Island. I can really taste that spice that's significant, and the retro hail can be a little bit tingly on your nose there. So maybe be warned if you try it.
Oh yeah, I can't wait till we get to the Amor Fuerte. Oh
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah,
that one. I have 2 boxes.
Yeah, I've actually when they shipped the lines for us and we're getting a promo and organizing the promos, I have one left for the show.
Nice.
And because I go to StogieGeeks.com and click on the Placencia banner, I don't find any retailers near me here in the Northeast. So I have to wait. That's one thing. It's going to age. It's going to age a couple of weeks.
Right.
Yeah.
And this Elma del Fuego, I'll tell you, I do my morning sticks. I've had this twice in the morning, and this is a very nice stick to kick off your day with. I mean, as they tout on their website, the notes of the tangerine and the creaminess and the taste of the roasted cashews really come through. As you're drinking your coffee in the morning, and I've had the cigar in the mornings. I've had a lot of people comment on them, and it's just a very enjoyable cigar.
Absolutely, I think it is great. Stogie Geek rating.
Oh, it's a box.
Oh yeah, box. I was just saying, box all day.
Yeah.
Box all day. It's a little pricey if you're shopping around there, new to sticks. Makes a great celebratory cigar if that doesn't fit your budget, for sure. But yeah, you can definitely check these out at a retailer near you. To find one, StogieGeeks.com. Click on that Placencia banner, throw in your zip code, and away you go with that. So definitely check it out. Drew and I both give it a box. Paul's had some behind the scenes, and I did not ask him for his rating, so I will report back next week because we are doing another stick from Placencia next week. Just to preview that, next week we are slated for the Reserva Original, which I've had that, and I already have my notes in here. I just got to get them on here. So that's a good stick as well. But
yeah, I'm working on that one right now as we're speaking.
Cool, man. Cool.
Well.
Absolutely. Drew, what else have you been smoking?
I'm going to kick it off with the Total Flame. I was shooting you some photos early in the week about Total Flame because I've heard of them. Mm-hmm. I've just never got my hands on them. Nomi, at my home cigar lounge, Prestige Cigars and Tobacco in Bedford. He had them there, and he's like, "Hey, I got these cigars you got to try." I'm like, "Okay." And when he showed them to me, I'm like, "Oh my God, I've heard these." So Total Flame M72. It's a 7 1/4 by 57 Solomon. It does contain Russian tobacco in the filler. Production is limited though, so these are very limited. So if your brick and mortar has them, grab some. I even had a guy on Instagram says, "Oh my God," he goes, "We just got these in yesterday, the day that morning when I posted that morning stogie," and he said, and I'm pretty sure he went and got some from his brick and mortar, the name comes from a Ural M72, it's Soviet motorcycle. Production on these, again, it was 15,000 cigars through about 5,000 will be offered in the U.S. and will be sold in numbered boxes of 5 cigars with a price of $99 a box, give or take tax and what have you. So taste notes on this for me: brown sugar right off the kick. I mean, man, as soon as I lit the foot, did a cold draw first and then lit the foot, and that brown sugar just came through. And it's very mellow. It's not over sweet, not overpowering. And then it just transitions to some soft spice. You got some rich tobaccos. You got the leather component that comes in, and it just starts to really just take you on a very nice, relaxing trip. And so that's why, for me, I'm going to get me more of these as much as I can and have them as my morning stick. Leather oak component in there, a little bit of oak component. Again, not too overbearing. On a retro hell, that's when that soft spice just really starts to come through, and it's just enjoyable throughout the event.
What's your rating?
So So my Store Geeks rating on this is a 5. So share share them, get the word out. And I believe this cigar is also Plasencia. So let me just read this real quick. So this cigar, it uses a burley tobacco from the 101-year-old, I can't even say this, Portuguesa cigarette and cigar factory that was sent to Plasencia Cigars in Estel, Nicaragua. From there, it was blended with Nicaraguan tobacco for the wrapper, binder, filler. So just to kind of give you a heads up, Plasencia had a little hand in this, or a large hand. But yeah, definitely a 5. If you can get a box, grab it. I mean, you will not be disappointed in this box. The only thing you'll be disappointed in is that there are not too many of them around. So
right,
enjoy it. Yeah.
Enjoy it. Smoke them if you got them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Have you had the chance to grab that?
No, I have not. And
Okay.
I know you texted me the pitches, and it's on my long list of things to do. I need an intern.
I got one for you. So
I need an intern to mail sticks. Well, actually, I'm crying. Me. We here at Security Weekly strongly need an intern to mail sticks and find stuff for that.
Oh, yeah.
So, if you
I
know a
got some for
college
you.
student that wants to earn some credits,
there you go.
we can do it under the Security Weekly umbrella instead of Stogie Geeks this way in college, But it's just stuff like that, it's like gotta do. I literally have a to-do folder, and I'm not lying. I click on it. It's got 1,100 things to do.
Oh yeah.
Like it just and it's like I gotta get to it. So, anyway. Stogie Geeks, I want to remind you, if you go to StogieGeeks.com and click on the McAuliffe banner, they're looking for cigar ambassadors in every state. Check them out. You get some benefits. You get an ambassador coin, Facebook group membership, a cigar at specific McAuliffe events, exclusive contest for ambassadors, 25% discount on all swag, and behind-the-scenes information about a boutique cigar company. Check them out, StogieGeeks.com. Check out their ambassador program, and it's a great way to get out there and represent a truly unique and interesting cigar company and business model. And McAuliffe is coming to the microphone soon, so we're going to expand on that and move forward over there. Drew, you have one more stick.
Yeah. So my next stick I had was the Espinosa Habano number 4, 5x52. This is a medium to full bodied cigar. So the number 4 that it's made in the La Zona factory in Nicaragua, along with the rest of their line. Taste notes on this and in this particular stick was pepper right off the kick. I mean, and it gives you a nice little kick as you fire it up. The first third pepper, some vanilla and nutmeg. So you got that mixture coming in, and it starts to walk you down into the second third of the stick, where you start to get the cinnamon. You get a little bit of earth in there, and some leather component. And then from there, it just starts to transition in the last third with more of the cinnamon there, and then the vanilla starts to come back just a tad bit. Pepper on the retrohale, definitely. So if you do the retrohale, you're going to enjoy that pepper note that's there. It's not overbearing. It's very doable, and you'll find yourself wanting to do some of the more retrohales throughout this particular stick. This has been one that I definitely will move into a regular rotation for me. The wrapper is Mexican Capa Negra. The binder is Nika, and the filler is Nika. So very good stick. I highly recommend it. I gave this a box worthy as well. Price point, they're not that bad. I mean, price, you can get this box for about $1.25 and have these cigars throughout the year in your rotation.
There you go. Box split, you said?
No, box worthy.
Box.
Oh yeah.
There you go. Awesome. Super cool. I want to thank Calvin for emailing me. Calvin is from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Oh, yeah.
He told me to check out this cigar and other cigars, and next week I'm going to get to the rest of his cigars. But Calvin told me to check out the Warped Series Grand Reserve 1988 Robusto. I couldn't find it here in Rhode Island. Drew sent me some, as in if he wants to put more salt on the room. He sent this on more salt on the wound. He sent me cigars after I promised him 4 months ago to send cigars. There, which is why people keep emailing me, Joe. Don't forget Drew cigars. Anyway, this was ranked number 3 in 2019. Rapid Binder Filler is from Nicaragua. It's made by Aganosa Leaf. True Nicaraguan taste, classic Nicaraguan stick. Nicaraguan 101. You're going to get a little earthiness. You're going to get some coffeeness. It pairs great with coffee. I had it with a coffee and a Bloody Mary at the same time. True story. They don't break the bank. Aganosa Leaf's coming out with some super cool stuff. They've been doing some cool stuff there that I've been kind of monitoring. They were, if we were to do a top 15 of cigars to cigar companies to watch, they would certainly make that list if it was coming from me there. But we limited it here to top 5. Absolutely, positively, I certainly want to say thank you to Calvin for emailing us here and giving us his feedback. He also gave me some feedback as to where his favorite hangout is and all of that stuff, and I checked it out online, and it looks pretty cool. If I'm ever finding myself in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, I will be there because it's called Harrisburg Beer and Cigar. Sounds like my type of place. I might even bring my guitar and rip a few tunes over there. And maybe I'll catch Calvin, who knows. But in regards to the actual rating, I would give that rating a box split. Super cool stick. And there you go. Do you have anything else you want to add to this, Drew?
No, I actually, I've had a couple of them. I bought a few of them. And this stick has been a very enjoyable smoke. So I've already gotten 2 down, working on the next 3 here, probably in the next 4 weeks. And they're just ready to go. I mean, they don't need no time to rest.
Ready to go.
They're ready to fire up, cut them, and light them up. And so, this cigar is definitely going to be one that's more on the creamier side, but yet you still get that surprise where the spice kicks in and it balances out. So definitely a little complexity there in a great way. Complexity in all ways is great. But I really thoroughly enjoyed the cigar. I think so. Calvin is the one who emailed us, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And I immediately went out after our show, the next day, Saturday, and found the cigars. Took a picture of them, sent them to you, and then by Wednesday they were in FedEx box.
I know.
On the way to Rhode Island.
I know, and yet Paul and I failed to send you cigars.
Oh no!
I apologize. I need an intern.
It reminds me. It just reminds me of the time where I went up to prom, asked the girl out, got the car, got suited and booted, arrived, and she was nowhere to be found.
Oh, I love it. You're throwing dirt right from Texas to Rhode Island over here. That's super cool.
But later on, it turned out just fine. I showed up at the prom.
It'll turn out just fine. I promise someday.
Oh yeah,
right?
No,
Absolutely. Well, I want to remind the Stogie Geeks listener. We keep the conversation going all week long. You can go to StogieGeeks.com, visit us on Facebook, communicate with Drew and I. It'd be good to hear from you. You can email joe@StogieGeeks.com. All complaints sent to Drew@StogieGeeks.com. Don't forget, tell your friends about the podcast. I want to remind you that behind every cigar, there's a story worth knowing. Get out there and shop local. Next week, I'm going to tell you a true story. Today, I bought a box of 50, unsigned, unsmoked, unseen, sight unseen, bought the box. I'm picking it up at 5 o'clock today. I'll let you know what it was. I want to thank JC Newman, Havana Cigar Club, Placencia Cigars, and McAuliffe Cigars, Stogie Geeks, and Drew. We'll see you next week. Peace.